Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers. Folder here. Yeah, I know, it's a folding knife channel. Every so often we put a fixed blade on here. I've highlighted some fixed blades in the past. This belongs to a buddy of mine who lent it for the channel. Shout out to Fitzmeister General for putting forth the Spartan blades, professional grade Damysus. And this is a banger here, guys. That's why it's on the channel. Really nice knife. Let's just get into it. This is a Spartan Blades knife, 5.5 inch blade on this one. You got the 1095 blade, and I believe, yeah, this is this 1095 CR. Excuse me. Chrome van carbon steel. I'm not going to get into that too much. I don't really know if there's a real difference in that. 1095 K-bar. They put a little bit of chromium and vanadium in there, and from what I understand, the chemical composition actually has small amounts of it, so it's not like they're lying about it. But you know, it's mostly a marketing ploy, because honestly, there's not that much difference between 1095 and 1095 CR or chrome van. Anyway, having said that, it doesn't really matter, because the way these knives are set up, they are set up to be absolute monsters in the field. You got the 1095 steel, which is a simple carbon steel. And if you took 1095 and you compared it to a modern day complex steel with multiple carbides, and everything was equal, it would not be able to stand up to one of those steels. But that's not what we have. They purposely, there's a reason why these knives are so thick, right? And using 1095 with a thick steel like this and then powder coating the blade really makes for an absolute monster in the field. And that's what these knives are set up for, okay? This is one of the knives, this is the type of knife that you're out in the wilderness and you want something like this. 1095 is going to give you the ability to have amazing hardness in this geometry. Now, remember, the blade thickness always matters, right? Blade thickness trumps toughness, okay? If you have a blade steel that's not so tough, how do you make it tougher? Make it thick, right? Make it thick. And that's what they do. And these types of knives are excellent for being in the field. 1095 is a simple carbon steel, like I said, and you can easily sharpen this thing on anything. You don't want to be out in the field and have and this is exaggeration, an S90V, for instance. You would not be able to sharpen that in the field, on a rock, in a stream. All right, but 1095 you actually can. So it's going to serve all those purposes. You got this beautiful drop point blade. Like I said, it's got the powder coating on it, and you have the micarta, the green canvas micarta scales. This thing weighs 9 ounces, 9.9 ounces to be exact. This is probably an 8 or a 10. Yeah. Yeah, big T10s in there. holding those micarta scales. You could actually change the scales on this if you want, very easily. Take these off and use the pattern to make the scales out of anything you want. Why would you change it from micarta? I don't know. You shouldn't. Micarta is just amazing in hand, the way it feels. Blade is 5.5 inches. Cutting edge is 4.7. The handle is 5 inches. Overall length is 10.5 inches or 10.5 inches. Like I said, 1095 CR carbon steel. Rockwell, depending on the heat treat, is 56 to 58 HRC, drop point blade, flat grind, or saber. I love the way they put this French choil here. It definitely does allow you, the main index on the handle does have you far back, and you got a lot of blade here. So it definitely makes a difference if you want to come over here and choke up, because you want to use the front part of the blade in that campsite. You can also use that choil as a tool to help you retract the blade out of some material that you, if you punctured and you're having a hard time getting the blade out, you can definitely use that choil for that also. There's no extra pommel on the end, but as you see, full Tang construction, and there's very little space here with the micarta, so you can definitely use the end of this thing if you need to use a for some blunt force trauma instrument. Yeah, very nice. Under normal circumstances, you would think this would be jimping, but it is not. This jimped area that's not jimping in the front of the blade here is actually locking points for the sheath. You have an injection molded active retention sheath here. Very nice sheath. I always highlight the sheaths of any fixed blades that I do, because in my opinion the sheath is just as important as the knife. If you don't have a way to hold the knife, and what difference does it make? You're not going to walk around with it in your hand like this. The way this kind of works is you take the knife and you put it in, and it has a spring-loaded mechanism on the front part of the sheath, and it clicks in like that. That was just pushed into the first level. You see there's a little bit of play in it, but all you got to do is click it down to a couple more levels, and now there's a little bit of play, but it ain't going nowhere. To release it, just the thumb, and the blade comes out. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. It's got a little lanyard hole here in the back. Yeah. This is, this is no nonsense right here. Anytime you see a manufacturer in collaboration with K-Bar, the original K-Bar, you know that it's serious business. That's what we have. This knife really, really, really doesn't have any weaknesses, really. I mean, it's what it is. It's a hardcore tool. Like I said, 1095. If I were going to make any complaint about this knife and this whole system, I would probably have to say that the same mechanism that's amazing on this sheath is also my complaint. I'm going to cheer it and dog it at the same time. Right? This locking mechanism is amazing because I love the way it has the retention and it locks in. Very nice. That's amazing until it doesn't work. Okay? This is a movable object, and anytime you have movable parts, it's one of the reasons why a fixed blade is more reliable than a folding knife, is because there are no moving parts. This is a injection molded plastic sheath, and it has a spring-loaded locking mechanism, which I love. But that same spring-loaded locking mechanism, if this locking mechanism fails, spring breaks or something, or some dirt gets caught inside there, now you can't retain your blade. Because if I hold this open, it does have some passive retention here, but not much. So that's the problem with things like this. Very nice when it works, but we always have to play devil's advocate. And I'm going to say that this is injection molded plastic. the actual best sheaths are going to be made of Kydex. And if it's not made of Kydex, it's going to be Bolatron, which Bolatron actually is better than Kydex. It's just a more durable, resistant, robust material. I'm going to use my Trailmaster as an example, really quick. This is the Trailmaster, right? Huge, amazing Bowie knife. And this is the sheath that it came with. Terrible. Okay. My Trailmaster. All right. It came with this. Right? Cardboard inside here. A snap. And this is like a canvas material. Completely pathetic. So what did I do? You know what I did. I went out and got this on the market, right? Bolatron. And as you notice, the retention system for the Kydex and Bolatron, I put them both in the same category. For brevity and reference, I'm just going to call it Bolatron, but it applies to Kydex also, is they don't have some type of movable object. You want to reduce the amount of movable objects. So as you see with this type of sheath, the mold is very, very memory friendly. Okay, and when you take the Trailmaster and you put it in, it locks in. And I'm going to tell you, this is not coming out. This is not coming out unless you forcefully pull that out of there. Okay, no movable parts. Right? You want the least amount of movable parts when you're dealing with a fixed blade in the field. If I end up getting one of these knives in the future, which I am leaning towards doing that, I probably would get a Kydex or a Bolatron sheath as a secondary sheath for this. I'll use this, but if I went out in the field, I would just, I would probably just carry both of them maybe. A sheath, an extra sheath in your bag isn't going to hurt you, But I probably would do that. Or I would just, as much as I love this, I would probably just use the other one because no movable parts, right? That's what you want to reduce. The ability and the opportunity for failure. That's what you want to reduce. So anyway, yeah, aside from that, you have a really nice tool. So yes, that's the Spartan Blades professional grade Damysus fixed blade 5.5. All right, guys, that's it.